Alright, so I got cyberbullied into covering the patch notes, all the bounce changes and so on for the new Warno patch. I used to do this every time and I just kind of stopped doing it. But people always ask for it, so here we are. This is the Nemesis 5 patch number, but basically it's the Nemesis 5 DLC. It adds two new divisions, Spain and Czechoslovakia. I have a video on those divisions, along with plenty of gameplay. We'll go through this and we'll get to the bounce parts and so on. As always, timestamps in the description. So first things first, they added a new instructor trait which grants a level of veterancy like the CV, and also acts like a military police to remove the reservist trait. So I've also got a video on that. Basically, you go into the armory, sort by trait, and you select this penis-looking one, and you'll see there's only two instructors so far. And those are Chieftain Mark 1/4 on high dynamic range. And you can read the text and so on. Like I said, I got a video on it, but basically it only upvets and military police is for the same unit type. So it's not like a CV which just upvets everything. This tank will only upvet other tanks, but it won't upvet other tanks in, like, recon tanks. It won't work on those. So it's just the ones in the tank tab. I do believe it does work on things like the Rover Milan. In fact, let's just check that real quick. It'll only take me a second, and that would be worth knowing. That's useful information. So, let's launch into a single-player game here. That's why we're here, right, to analyse the patch. So, we'll get a Chieftain, and then a bunch of swing fires, and Centurions on this side. And yeah, it won't affect something like this. So there's the circle, right? And you see it does not. Okay, so it is only for tanks. Like, so even though this is in the tank tab, the game does know it's not a tank. So the Centurion here has been updated and has had its reservist removed, but it doesn't apply to units in the recon tab, and it doesn't. It also doesn't apply to things like the Ferret Swing Fire and the Rover Milan. So we learned something new today, right? Yeah. So some code fixes, so fixed some bugs. Oh yeah, this was a funny one. I didn't do a video on it because it would basically just ruin every 10v10. But I had been told about it a couple times. I'd received some anonymous tip-offs. And basically you could, like, send a recon plane and just left click, right click, left click, right click. I watched a video of somebody, like a little MP4 file of somebody doing it. And then it would just kind of zoom off the map all the way around the back into the opponent's backline and spot all the fobs. So there's a reason I didn't make a video about that. I didn't want to just ruin every 10v10. So they fixed that, which is great. Improved velocity estimation when predicting projectile trajectory. So basically, how much do you lead a shot to hit them? This matters for the FX, because sometimes you see rounds miss by a lot and the tank still explodes. But I think this applies to things like Stingers. So if you use a dive bomber on like something like the Jaguar HE, right? If you use something like this next to an enemy Stinger or Igler or whatever, the manpad will miss basically all the time because it can't aim. The missile can only bend so fast, and it shoots where it is, not where it's going, and the missile doesn't bend enough, and you basically get a free miss. I believe this is referring to that. The alternative is it's just fixed the FX problem where if you tried to shoot something with a tank round and it's going like mega fast down a road, the tank round looks like it misses loads and the unit still explodes, which does look a bit weird. But anyway, it fixed a crash related to the cliff map. The cliff map is now in ranked. They changed the ranked pool. I was going to do a separate video about that. That'll be linked in the description. They changed the ranked pool and reset the ladder. So here I am, rank 1/4, depending on who you believe. Right, so correction and improvement of bomber aircraft which did not always center their bombs on the target. So, yeah, sometimes bombers would miss, and frankly, since they fixed this, I've still seen them miss, so not sure what's going on there. Players will no longer be kicked from multiplayer after calling many reinforcements at once. Yeah, this was a funny one. Saw this on the subreddit. So if you control click, you buy all the units you can for the money. So if at the start of the game you try to buy 36 T-34s or whatever, by, you know, just control clicking, the game will like automatically kick you for spam protection 100% of the time. I should have done a video about that. That was quite funny actually, but what can I say? Yeah, so okay, so 24. It would be 24. I don't know anybody who gets any more. Maybe Berlin Gropers gets more. But yeah, this is a bug that's been in since forever, but nobody knew about it because nobody was doing it. But yeah, if you put all this in the decks and you control click it and then place it on the map, you will get before the patch you would get kicked 100% of the time. Correction for bomber aircraft which did not target correctly when they had only part of their bombs left to drop. Oh yeah, this so you can split payloads because it drops the bombs basically one at a time very quickly. If you interrupt the order, it'll only drop about half the bombs. But then if you would come back around and try and bomb them again with the other bombs or bomb another target or whatever, they would always miss, apart from like the Mega Waffle one. So hopefully that's fixed. Improved display of mortar angles in the armory. So this hasn't fixed the mortar angle trajectory, but I don't know, maybe this used to be further back or further forwards. I mean, who knows, honestly. It might be this icon, maybe this used to go there or something. Who knows? Who knows? Fixed a crash that occurred when shots or explosions were fired at the edge of the map. Okay, I didn't know about that. When queuing multiple orders with units and their transport, certain commands were not being respected. Yeah, if you tried to box select artillery after being fired, to like box select, load it and move it, it would break. Now, since this patch, I have still seen it break, so I'm not convinced they fixed that, or maybe they fixed one cause of it and not the other ones. Fixed an error that occurred when removing a unit in combat group editing. I don't know anything about that. Load order fix. Previously, if a second order was issued quickly after a load command, units could mount and dismount the transport before continuing on. I did have this happen in a tournament, actually. The tournament last week, I was loading and moving, and then it wasn't... Yeah, it was just dismounting them immediately. Yeah. So, okay, well, so they fixed that, have they? I've not seen that one since then. Fix the chat in the armory, which was overlapping the unit panel info in certain resolutions. Yeah, so this thing, which nobody uses anymore, but it is there. The in certain resolutions, like obviously it doesn't apply to me. This when it's low would still be up here if your resolution was really low, so you couldn't see everything. Fix the chat. Oh, I just spoke about that. Some modding fixes, right? So now we get to the balance changes, and just to summarize the balance changes, I'm just writing down when we are. I should probably thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get their names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. They also get a Steam key for my game, Hearse Hero, which is on Steam. I was doing a bit of game development today. Otherwise, please just like the videos. So, yeah, they reset the ladder, they changed the map pool. They had big buffs for 101st US, 24th US, 35th US. So, like, big buffs for 24th and 101st. All recoilless rifles, so that's the SPG-9, the Wombat, the Czech thing, yes, like the SPG-9, the M40, A1, the Wombat, they all had their accuracy go up by 5%, although this says 39 instead of 40, but it was 35 before. So they've all had their accuracy go up by 5%, so you'll see a lot of that. Also, all MMG teams got nerfed, so the infamous MMG spam has been nerfed. Basically, these 762 teams, if you've been living under a rock, everybody was spamming them, and the way they fixed it is they lowered the suppression from 20 to 15, thus bringing them in line with the ones on vehicles. You might think, okay, no biggie. Yes, biggie, that's a 25% reduction in suppression. The MMGs were doing more suppression than a BMP2 30mm autocannon before. So now it doesn't do that anymore. So they're not as ridiculous. I still bring them. I still think they're really good. But they're certainly less regarded. So yeah, let's get to it. Start off with the USA. So, USA. So there's going to be a lot of duplicate entries. So like the LAV has its suppression go down. The MEEP got buffed. This is such a dumb buff. I don't understand this at all. The Meep Abrams had its curve go from 421 to 532, which is just nonsensical. And this is a huge buff for 101st Airborne, which is now completely broken because they also get a new unit called the Slammer, which we'll get to. And it's good for 24th. Berlin Command only gets one card, so they only get one more. But yeah, it's very silly. The reasoning for the change, the reasoning everybody gave when they were like, such a great change, is because the Challenger Mark II is 532. The Challenger Mark II at 2 vet loses to a Meep Abrams at 1 vet. And this 230 point tank, right, if you think Leopard 2A3s on Germany, they go 421. Well, why isn't this 532? Now, the other example that was brought up is that some of these PACT tanks have retarded availabilities. So, like this one has 532 as well, or what one of these T64s does, and a couple of the T72s do as well that probably shouldn't. But instead of fixing those, they just made the Meep equally broken. So I don't agree with this at all. I think this is a really dumb idea. But I got ignored, I suppose you could say. So, yeah, the National Guard M60A1 availability went up, so this is a change I do agree with. So this is the one on 35th. And it was high, and then all of a sudden it just got mega nerfed, and now it's basically back to what it is. So it was 4-2, now it's 5-3. So you get 3 of them at 1 vet instead of 2. So that makes sense. And then some buffs for these are Dragonflies, I think. Yeah, so the gun on this has more range now. Great. I mean, it's still crap. I don't... It's a 7.62... Yes, it's a 30 cal. So I'm not sure about that at all, really. But yeah, okay, great. And then the Recon OA-37B, which is this one, it's the same one. So the gun on this is slightly better now. Okay. Air Cav Troopers renamed to Air Cav Dot Troopers. This is obviously a massive change and really does matter. I believe these patch notes are generated from a by a machine. You know, between patches, it's just like what's changed in the files and generates it. So you do get things like this. So recoilless rifle accuracy went up, and then all the MMGs had their suppression go down. So this next thing, basically M16s were the worst rifles in the game because they were demoralized from Vietnam. So basically all small arm 5.56s and the Russian caliber, I think it's 5.54, are the same. Apart from the M16A1, which was just worse than everybody else's. So basically it was 5% less accuracy, and now it's just as good, and then that affects... Because the M16A1 is for all the reservist units, so it's big for... where are we? It's big for all the reservist divs, so 6th US, 9th US, 24th US, and 35th US. 24th and 35th in particular, it really helps. So, because you already have minus 5% accuracy from reservist, but then you also had minus 5% accuracy from the weapons, so it was minus 10% accuracy, which meant the actual damage you were doing was just pitiful. So that's been fixed for all of them. There was also an East German gun that had the same problem. I can't remember the name of it. We'll get to it. This mortar got cheaper for whatever reason. So now this mortar at 1 vet costs the same as this mortar at no vet, which doesn't go as far. Dumb fucking change, man. I mean, so anyway, recoilless rifles get better. The National Guard M113A1 had its price go down, which is very sensible because it's a reservist variant, so it should be 5 points cheaper. It used to deal about 2/3 the damage. Now it is not as bad because the reservist trait got reworked, right? So yeah, that for 15 points might actually be worth bringing now. Recoilless rifle. MP patrols had their availability increase, like the regular MP patrol. For whatever reason, they just had a worse... Well, I remember the reason. It's because Directs wanted to nerf it like 2 years ago. So it had a lower availability than all the other MPs. So if you just look at, let's see, the Czech ones are called like Thai, aren't they? 9.6, whereas the American ones were like 8.5 or something. Now they are also 9.6. So maybe this is now useful. The only person I know who brings that, because the recoilless rifle one's obviously really good, and that's why the availability is so low, because the recoilless rifle's really nice. The only guy I know who brings the regulars is Fortitude Fence, but hey, he wins a lot, so maybe it's viable. Meep Abrams got better. MP Patrol. Oh yeah, 24th also got a slot availability change, so it's a bit better now. It's funny because I was making a guide for it, and I played all the games, and now they've changed it. I suppose I could just reuse the content and not tell anybody. Although I suppose I've told you now, I'll just edit this part out. So now I've got 2 extra AP here, and like so now I've got loads of meeps. So I could probably just get rid of this. Don't really need it anymore. And now I've got 5 AP, and now I could bring hmm. I could upbit my stingers, or I could definitely bring like a second strike eagle. That'd be cool. Oh yeah, and the national. Oh, there you go. I mean, that's great, isn't it? So, ta-da! So that's a nice buff. 35th. The obviously all those rifles got better on 24th as well. All of those M16A1s on 24th, they all got better. So it's a big improvement for their infantry capacity, because that was another problem I had with the div. Just like the infantry would just always lose. And now it will probably still lose, but less. And that also affects 35th. They got some extra dragon transports. I mean, okay, right. Does it matter? Maybe it does. I mean, yeah, so this can now come in the dragon one. So you can pay 10 points more for 14 AP. I mean, it'll help, like, go with your tanks. So I don't think it's worth it, really. I just get this. But there you go, you can do it now. 101st Airborne is the real winner here, because it got this new slammer thing, which I'll show you. I do have a separate video on it. Broken record. And the meeps go up, so like 101st Airborne is honestly an S-tier division right now, because the slammer thing is just absolutely retarded. This can... I've got a video on it, but basically it aims really fast, it fires really fast, it's got a very low supply cost, it's quite cheap, you get 2 of them, it comes at 1 vet by default, so you put CV next to it, it's at 2 vet, and 2 of them together can 1 volley an Abrams, and it will fire half in the volley, so the supply cost is like 200 per volley, so you can just keep it shooting all game. I was playing against a guy and he bought 4 of these, and he's a really good player. He's got some interesting opinions on the game, though. I told him, listen, just bring this instead, you'll just kill everything. And for whatever reason, this is now cheaper, even though it's better. They should just execute everybody who disagrees with me. So yeah, 101st Airborne is now a tank division, as well as everything else. You know, somehow they get these meeps in the flipping airborne thing, and now you got 8 tanks. It's basically like the old 2nd UK. That's basically what it is. Almost identical to the old 2nd UK, except instead of 2 cards of warriors, which admittedly are very useful, you get this, which is... That's worth 2 cards of warriors to me. In its current state, it is broken, so S-tier div right here. Now we get to the UK, 1850 UK. So the Chieftain Mark 6.2 went down in price. So this is the one on 4th UK, I think. Because yeah, nobody brings this. And frankly, if I was you, I still wouldn't bring it. Because what's it for? What do you want it for? If you want to kill tanks, you might as well get the one that has 4 more pen. Right? Literally has 4 more pen. You do have to pay a lot of money for it, but 4 pen is 4 pen, okay? Well, actually, maybe this is worth it. I don't know, but if you want to kill infantry with it, well, this is 4 points. 5 points cheaper. They can both survive a Milan 2, but the Chieftain Mark 6.2 can survive a Toad 2. But the Romor's much better against infantry because it will blat them with the demolition gun. Which, if the unit's in a building, because it's got that demo tag to ignore cover, It's not the only thing that does that, but it does at least have the tag to tell you it does. It will do like 6 times more damage, because it's already 3 times, but in a building it's halved, so it'll do 6 times more damage per shot. Obviously it fires half as fast, but it's got a high alpha damage. So, like, you bring the row more, basically. I don't really see a point in this. Maybe it's good, I don't know. Because, like, you can get it at 2 vet, but it's kind of like a T-55A, but worse, because it's slower. Well, no, it's because it's not got HMG as well, which makes its anti-infantry capacity actually really quite pitiful. Maybe it's useful now, I don't know. I don't really think so. Harrier HE2 price went up. So that, I think, is the one on 2nd Panzergren. Yeah, it is. So that's the 2nd Panzergren nerf right there. Hidden in the UK, because it's just done, because it's got the UK flag, right? MMG suppressions went down. Wombat accuracy went up. Same for all of these. MBAD nerf. MBAD nerf. The cluster mortars got more expensive. They are pretty crazy. So it makes sense for them to cost more. Because before they cost the same as the regular mortar, even though it's cluster. And it just costs the same. So it doesn't do that anymore. All the Javelin LMLs got a rover as a transport option, as well as the Starstreak LML. So they're still useless, but at least they go faster, because if you look at... let's get HDR up. So the Bedford goes a lot slower than the rover. And yeah, apparently this can fit in a rover. I mean, obviously, yeah, it would dismantle, right? So presumably, yeah, it makes sense. So now maybe this is a bit easier to use because you can move it around quite quickly, as opposed to slowly. Maybe. RMP got military police vehicle on Berlin Command. I think it was added to all the other ones in the last patch, but this patch they added it to Berlin Command, so there you go, Britain has a military police vehicle now. Oh, okay, probably got this one, but not this one. Now you can get whichever one you want. Obviously the faster one's probably better. This has more HP, though. Berlin Command gets the M113A3 Dragons and M113s for light rifles, law transport option. I mean, who cares? MP patrol buffs, meat buffs, right? This will help Berlin Command to get one more tank, basically. You want to get 1 card of meeps. So now we're on to West Germany. M40 recoilless rifle accuracy went up, MMG suppression went down, that's another M40. The Aufklärer Leopard 1A5 got buffed on Luftilandy. You get more of them now. Can't remember how many you got before. I think it was 3 at no vet and 2 at 1 vet. Now it's 2 at 2 vet. So basically you get 1 more tank. So that's cool. This is like the worst nerf ever, man. 2nd Panzergren really needs repeatedly hitting over the head, but they made their AP cost 1 more. Which doesn't matter because you always had 1 AP spare anyway. So like, look, it still says 49. I'm not even sure what's changed. If anything. Oh man, get me out. Get me out. So silly. That should have been a much harsher nerf. So that was West Germany. Now we're on to France. So these Magisters, so they're like the dragonflies. The range has gone up 300 meters. So they're in 152 easy. You're just not going to notice this at all. Because it's just a machine gun. Like, it doesn't have much time to shoot. Like, it says the rate of fire is 3,692 a minute. I suppose it reloads quite quickly, actually. But I don't know how fast it fires the salvo. Maybe you will notice it, but yeah, it's on Div Mob as well. So, 152 easy with this thing. Wow. You know how I always say 17 AP makes you survive every AT plane in the game bar 2? This is one of them. The other one is the TAM, because it has 26, which is obviously a lot more impressive, and it fires 2 at once, which matters a lot more. And then, yeah, the recoilless rifle changes and all the MMG changes. Generally, France hasn't really been touched. Then we have the Dutch. the Dutch haven't really been touched either. You've got the M40A1 changes and the MMG changes. Then we have Canada. The Mott Rifles Carl Gustav got buffed, so there's only one Canadian division. It's kind of a mixed everything division. So these used to have lower availability for like basically no reason. So now they don't. Do I even bring those? Maybe. Oh no, the reason I wasn't bringing them because I was like bringing the tank hunters instead because like you get a well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's a good buff. It's a good buff. M40 got changed. All the MMGs got. Oh yeah, they're the only nation in the game that doesn't have an MMG. So they only got HMGs, which is dumb because obviously they should have it, but for whatever reason they don't have it. And the reservist M113 price went down, so that's for these guys, right? So this is 15 now. Because yeah, I mean the regular one, it was 20, but it's reservist, and the regular one's 20, so it should come down, and it has. Right, so now, and obviously the Mott Rifles change in First Canada, again, like I said, it's generated by machine. So, Belgium, the Magister, we just spoke about this, the range went up. The suppression on the MAGs went down. The Recon Iltis 50 cal optics went up to very good. Why? Why? What? Right, so everybody else's is just good, but for whatever reason, this Iltis is very good. Here's a Delta Force Humvee, it's just good. Where's the other Iltis? Like, here's a Veak, it's just the same thing, but with a different gun. That's good. Rover Yeoman, good. Spartan is a bit different. KPVT, good. But for whatever reason, this has gone up to very good. Like, even the Honker, good. So that's just obviously a mistake. How does that happen? Why does that happen? So that's actually a very, very, very nice buff for 16th Belgium, and because very good optics is a lot better than good optics, and they're not paying anything extra for it, and that's just like an amazing buff for MBAD and 16th Belgium. Neither division needed any buffs. Okay. Spain! So the MG42 was better than every other MAG in the game, and now it's not. And it also got the nerf everybody else did to the suppression. And the M108 availability went up, so this is on Brunette. Clear these. So that's this thing, this 105mm, you now get 4 of them. Nobody's going to bring it, it doesn't matter. The Recon AMX30 EM1 veterancy went up, so you actually get quite a lot of these now. Also, there was a whole new Spanish division, but I covered that in a separate video. So this, you now get 4 at 1 vet, whereas before it was 2 at 1 vet. So that's actually a really big buff. This is definitely worth bringing now. It's like 19 pen, it's really not bad. It's sort of like the Chieftain, except just way, way, way better, because it's twice as fast, and the gun fires way faster. What the fuck? And it's recon. The Chieftain has to pay 130 points for all this. The Chieftain's worse against infantry, and it's significantly slower. The advantage, of course, is of the Chieftain is that it can survive a TOW 2, whereas this will die to a Milan 2 or a TOW 2 or a Conquer's M. But yeah, I mean, the Chieftain basically needs to get cheaper again, but like that's the reason 4th UK is so bad. The Chieftains still suck, but 1st UK is actually competitively viable, so the Chieftains don't get changed, because then 1st UK would become stupid. Also, they got a car CV now. This is the one from the 2nd Spanish div, and they backported it, so they have a regular car CV now. I still prefer the Tower, because it's half the price. You do lose 1 availability, though. Right, so now we're on to PACT 2940. Did I shill? I think I shilled. So, for whatever reason, a lot of the Fab 500 bombs had their suppression go down by 10. I mean, who knows why, but because it's generated by a machine, there's just loads and loads and loads of lines of suppression went down by 10. So, the Fab 500's the 500 kilo bomb, we're assuming. Otherwise, why would they call it that? Although, you know what the Americans are like. Here's my Mark 1 nuclear weapon. So yeah, 500 kilo bomb, and the suppression has gone down by 10. Okay. The MiG-25's got faster, so this I always found this very strange. So the MiG-25 is the predecessor to the MiG-31. So it was designed to intercept American nuclear bombers. So the idea is it doesn't turn very well at all. It's just supposed to go in a straight line really fast, catch and launch a bunch of missiles at a bomber, right? But for whatever reason, it's like one of the slowest planes in the game, but also one of the most agile. So I remember pointing this out. So the right people must have been listening because look, agility very good. I was like, why is this damn thing so agile and slow? That's not what it is. So now it's still very agile, but it goes way faster. Okay. So that's a really nice buff to 35Y actually, because now this thing is rapido, which means it exposes itself to the enemy AA for less time. And also because enemy AA generally outranges you, right? You want to close the distance as fast as possible, sort of. It's a buff, just believe me. And then this bomber's probably really good now, because, or it'll just miss. Because like that's going to be very hard to shoot down, like very hard. So yes, all the Fab 500 things changed. They renamed the Su-24M Seed to Seed 2, which, you know what that means. It means that... Oh, okay, there's the Seed 1. I was going to say, they're going to add another one. No, it was already in the game. This is a recoilless rifle. This is the one on 157Y, so it's now got better accuracy. Really, the problem with these is that they're only two-man squads. So I think if they were all three-man squads, it'd probably be worth bringing. I still don't think they're worth bringing. But you know what happened with MMG teams? MMG teams used to be two-man squads, and then they went up to three, and then they went up to four, and they just became absolutely broken. So, but I reckon if they made the wombats 3 per card, I don't think it'd hurt anybody. So all the SPG-9s had their accuracy go up. So Recon, Razvedka, Saperi had their price go down. Somebody was explaining this to me, and it sort of made sense. Like, if you compare it to other units, it's not really very fair. But so that actually does help the Soviet deployment at the start, even though it's very strong anyway. So more buffs for 79Y, hooray, hooray. So yeah, you can get more of these out at the start. It's only 5 points. But there was also a buff to Motri's Razvedka. Their price went down by 5 points. But then they made the BMP-1P go up by 5 points. So that's the same. Because, yeah, this basically should have been... It was 45, and then it got lowered at the same time as the other one, which doesn't have smoke. So they were both the same price at 40. And now the one that doesn't have smoke is 35, because it's gone down by 10 points now. And the one that does have smoke has gone up to 45. But yeah, these Soviet heavy divs are actually really strong. And now they're even stronger. But this particular combination is the same price. Because one went down, one went up. All of the 762 teams changed. Motostrelki Metis got a buff. Their HP went up by 1. And their price didn't change. So this is an absolutely goated squad. It was always and always must bring Motostrelki Metis. And Motshots and Metis and so on. I mean, they only come on a couple... Three things, right? And, yeah, so 2Y buff, 27 buffs, 39 buff. And I think the Dush hasn't changed, I'm not sure. Maybe it has. Maybe it was always 8. Anyway, Desantniki BMD availabilities went up, so 35Y is back on the menu, basically. So, that's fun, fun, fun. Fun, fun, fun for the whole family, because it was 6-4, now it's 8-5. So you can two vet. Well, it's better because you're losing 3 there. Before you were losing 2. Anyway, you can get a lot of these now. You get 16 of these now. Sorry, 24 of these, or 15, as opposed to 12. So that's a very big buff for 76Y and 35Y. 76Y is quite weak. 35Y is not. It's just all the meta sweaters kind of left it. It doesn't mean it's a bad div. Now it's a better div, so okay. The Razvedka BTR 60PB went down in price. What div is that even on? 56Y, okay. All the recoilless rifle changes. Oh yeah, the BRDM2 Strela 1 had its ammunition go up. This is actually quite a big deal. This is on a lot of things, and I think it also applies to the SPW one and the Polish one. So, them only having 4 bullets is kind of weird. Apparently in real life they carry 6, and so but they can't put 6 in. It has to be a multiple of the salvo length, just because of the way their game works. So the choice was 4 or 8, so now it's 8. This is really strong at backline action now. As you know, I always bring them on 4th Mordschützen, and I would always have to bring a supply with them. So yeah, this wasn't my idea, but I do benefit from it. So that's nice. I'm ambivalent about it, but it is definitely a buff, like a big buff. But generally, most people don't bring these. They prefer the... But yeah, it's more buffs for 35Y and 76Y, because they get this, and not much else. So yeah, maybe you'll see more of these now. 35Y Desantniki buff, 76Y Desantniki buff. Now we're on to East Germany, 37 East Germany. All the fabs changed, the SPGs changed. This is... So at the start I spoke about the M16A1 and how that was worse than every other rifle. Well, technically the MPI Kill Myself 72 was also worse. So now that's also been buffed up. So KD8 Schutzen are now better. Great. So what is the difference over original? So 5 divided by 30 times by 100 is... Whoops. Retarded. 5 divided by 30 times by 100. So they'll now do 16% more damage. So yeah, that's all the KMSs, right, on the Marine Pioneers and stuff like that. Okay. The Marine Pioneer, aren't they the one on Baldur's Gate Division? Oh, it's Rugener, my bad. I thought it was, whatever it's called. BG. Berlin Gropers. So yeah, now this is a better squad. Rugener needs the help, so I think this is a good change. Same with the M16. It didn't make sense that... Like, I would prefer it if all the small arms were different, but if they're all supposed to be the same and then one's just worse, that's not really very fair, is it? Motorized Aufklärer got cheaper, and their BMP-1 got cheaper because theirs is the one without smoke. So that's a huge buff for 6Y. Whoa, great! Buff in S-tier divisions. 4th Mort. 7th and 9th are also, in my opinion, A+ or S-tier. So that's a big buff for the start of the game. Because you buy like 4 of these at the start, so it's kind of a big deal. And the thing they come in is now a lot cheaper. Sorry, that's 5 points cheaper, so overall it's 10 points cheaper, which is a lot cheaper. Because this is 35 now, which is sort of dumb and nonsensical. Because if you compare it to other things, it's not very fair. So now you can... This was 90 points last patch, now it's 80. It was 95 the patch before that. So if you compare it to this... Well, what the hell is it called? The M140... M40A... No, what's it called? The one on 3rd Armoured, you know the one I mean. M150. Okay, so... For 5 points less, you get 3 armor and a Grom. Although it is a transport, right? Smoke's nice. 50 cal's nice. But the Grom is good. I don't see why people keep raging about it. It is good. I think that should have stayed at 40, basically. And this should have gone up to 45, which it has. Because that is now... This vehicle has now gone down by 10 points over the course of 2 patches. Where are we? That's everything, right? Because the SPW was also covered. Oh, I mean, everything for East Germany. We still have to cover Poland and the check yourself before you wreck yourself. Berlin Groper's got the SPW PSH on some of its recon. Hooray. So that's this one. I mean, this is good. You want the grenade launcher, really, if you can. Wait, hang on, which one? Oh, SPW PSH. Oh, that's this one. This one's actually good because it's got a KPVT on it. So that is quite strong at the start because you get the recon deployment, 100 kilometers an hour, KPVT, PKT. The optics obviously are crap, but that's actually pretty good for the start of the game. I would prefer the grenade launcher, but you know, for these guys they didn't have that choice. So now VAC Aufklärer are pretty nice. So that is actually a buff. So I was a bit too flippant about that. Now we're on to Poland. Sorry, one sec. I've got some technical issues. Right, now we're on to Poland. What time is it? 41:45. Like I said, if you want these videos to continue, you have to feed me a steady diet of compliments because I don't enjoy reading out words. Words hurt me. So SPG-9 changes, Fab 500 suppression changes, the recon. So this is basically the motorized recon, right? Same as the NATO stuff. So that got cheaper as well. So buffs for 20th Polish and 4th Polish, which don't need them. But yeah, I'm not quite sure why that was 55. Like, it didn't actually make sense in isolation for that to be like that. So, because the one on the left is kind of better, right? Although, you know, this is satchel stuff, so it's a bit different. Yeah, there you go, you see? So that's why it was brought down in price. PKM changes, the BWP got cheaper, this really shouldn't be getting any cheaper. This is the Strela wheeled thing again, and the SPG's changed. Lots of overlap on PACT, right? There's 2 factions in Warno, NATO and Boring. This is boring. Czechoslovakia, MiG-21, Fab 500 changes, MMG changes, Strelcy went up, which is good because that was really kind of dumb. They were 50 points, which was just absurd for how good they are. So now they're 55. Coincides with the new 2nd Czech division, which I covered in another video. And yeah, this is that BVP-1, so it's the one without the smoke, and now these get even better. This should just be 40 points. I don't understand why it went down 10 points in 2 patches. This is the 303 guys, so the recoilless rifles have had their accuracy go up, haven't they? Haven't they? Maybe they haven't. Where's the... because the Soviet one went up, right? B11. I think they forgot one. I think this was supposed to go up. Or maybe it was... oh no, because it's got more range. It's got more range than all the other ones. For whatever reason, it's got more range than a Wombat, which in real life can shoot 2 kilometers, but in this game it can't. So that's why the accuracy stayed the same. I remember now. I recall... yeah, much higher rate of fire than the Wombat. With more range, even though the Wombat, you know, it's a bigger slug, so it can go further, and also, you know, it's also got a pre-fire gun thing on it, and it had range tables ranging out to like over 2 kilometers. But well, what do I know? What do I know? back in your box, Brit Bong. Anyway, I'm not sure what this means. Oh yeah, for whatever reason the Czech one comes at 2 vet, unlike everybody else's. I don't understand really why. Maybe the Czechs train their commanders more, but if you just compare it to like the Toa box, the Czech one gets a gun, and 1 more armor, and an extra rank of veterancy, and amphibious capability, and it costs the same. And it's at 2 vet, which means it caps the zones faster, and I believe the circle radius of buff is a little bigger. The second one, don't quote me on. So that's the patch changes. Some stuff I agree with, some stuff I don't. The meeps just becoming broken is absolutely nonsensical. This Belgium thing just suddenly getting better for like no reason. Like, why is that like that? I'm actually going to go report that right now. Thanks for watching.